Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching today's Midday Weather Outlook for the Southern region, brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, the weather forecast models from last week, specifically the European, did an excellent job on picking up on the timing and placement of this low pressure system we're going to be dealing with today. This is a snapshot at midday winds, and I think you can find the boundary pretty easily. It's being fed on moisture coming around this high pressure cell, and therefore we're going to have a large sector of the United States today that's going to destabilize under that warm, moist air coming out of the Gulf of Mexico. And the frontal boundary that is pushing up against this is going to potentially produce a long and damaging squall line. It's going to move to part of our southern region. So we better just go straight into it, take a look at what the Storm Prediction Center is saying here. So what we noticed is that in the overnight hours, the Storm Prediction Center upgraded in parts of eastern Oklahoma, western Arkansas, and northeastern parts of Texas here, with a moderate risk area. And so the main threat that we're concerned about today from these storms is going to be straight line damaging winds. And here's one of the reasons why. Just a little bit of the meteorology behind this. A lot of this is going to have to do with the orientation of the frontal boundary, which you saw was stretched northeast to southwest, and what the wind shear profile looks like. So instead of having a really strong low-level jet, say with winds right here 50 to 60 miles an hour, we actually see that the depth of the atmosphere is relatively uniform in the speed of the winds. Do you notice that? You can see the wind barbs there. So what ends up happening is these thunderstorms, as they develop without this strong turning of the upper level winds, they end up producing their own outflow on which new thunderstorm cells form. So they generate their own wind shear environment. And that wind shear environment they generate tends to be dominated by a switch in the low levels of the atmosphere, with strong outflow near the surface, with the upper level winds being from a uniform direction. Now, long story short behind all of that, with such deep convection, I mean, look at how unstable the atmosphere is here. We're going to see thunderstorms that will be getting all the way up where the top of the storm here will be well above 12 kilometers in the sky. There's going to be some powerful downdrafts producing long arcing lines of thunderstorms. That's the name of the game. So if we just go in and watch this is from early this morning's high resolution rapid refresh model. Let's pause it right here. This is getting into this afternoon, so we can see the widely scattered storms out ahead of this, okay, coming up here, just fed on the moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. But this is now getting to 4 o'clock Central Time, 5 o'clock, 6, 7, and 8. Now you can see that boundary sitting right here and the thunderstorms forming upon it. What's going to happen is those thunderstorms are going to race off that boundary later tonight. This is now in the overnight hours, into what could potentially be one very long and damaging squall line. So the concern here is going to be straight line winds with hail. I don't want to take the tornado word out of this, but I just want to say that that's going to be on the smaller end of the threat scale. This is going to be more of a wind and hail threat. Now, last night, of course, we saw, and early this morning, still saw thunderstorms that were producing hail in this section of Texas. Went through Dallas, Fort Worth area, and then moved over toward the south and east. And as these storms pull through, we're looking here at the high resolution rapid refresh model. They get all the way through, well, basically through parts of Tennessee, Kentucky, down into Mississippi, through Arkansas, and into Louisiana, and all the way to the Gulf Coast here in parts of Texas by early tomorrow morning. And that's when our severe weather threat will translate over to the east as this cyclone kind of wraps itself up here. We can see that on Wednesday afternoon, this is just a quick glimpse at the winds. We can see that the winds are going to be coming down out of the north across parts of Texas and Oklahoma, and out of the northwest through Arkansas, and going to be quite strong at times. Wind gusts could be getting well over 20 to 25 miles an hour behind this system. But with the main frontal boundary sitting here by the time we get into Wednesday afternoon, right in through there, we're going to watch the destabilized air, as you can see coming out of the south here, increase our severe weather threat over here over the south and east. And this is kind of coming on the anniversary of the 2011 outbreak of severe weather, which was yesterday and today. So if we just look for tomorrow, this will be on the 29th. It's going to be parts of Alabama and Georgia that are under the gun for the greatest risk. But anywhere that you see inside of this darker shading in through here does have a marginal risk for severe storms. So this is in the near term. Now, looking at total accumulated precipitation, these models are not going to be able to pick up on what you're going to get. What they're going to tell us is, given the thunderstorm activity, what the potential is. So there is well over an inch of liquid equivalent in each one of these storms. So as they come racing through, it's going to be about timing. You ask, well, why do we not see what's with this donut hole right here in Mississippi? And I think a lot of folks watching this in Mississippi could be very happy. That's all about timing. This will be coming through this area so late in the night, early tomorrow morning, that will be destabilized. I'm sorry, the destabilized atmosphere will be gone, and we're going to have to wait for it to reinvigorate the next day to push through parts of the southeast. But the potential here for these storms to easily put down 1 to 3 inches of rainfall is there. Now take a look at this. This gets you through Friday morning. Let me show you this upcoming weekend, though. We see that the time period after this storm system pulls through by Thursday into Friday, much of our southern region is going to go over to a drier pattern. It's really only going to be up there in parts of Missouri, southern Illinois, and Kentucky that are going to see, I think, the heaviest rainfall amounts out of this next system that comes through leading up to May the 4th. And I'm going to show you this next slide, but I want you to remember you're looking at an operational model run here. This now goes from basically May the 4th through May the 7th. And during that time period, the operational runs from the last 2 days have really painted this picture right here in the midsection of the United States, but on the very northern fringe of our southern region is having very heavy rainfall. I'll contend that if the models have this right, we do have to look out again into this area for the threat for severe storms as this next system comes through here. But I'm just telling you, you're looking at one operational model run. Now let's go see what the European model says about this so we can get an idea about when that's coming through. So we're going to get this playing. We're going to pause it right here. We've seen storm system number 1 pull through Wednesday night. This is now getting into Thursday morning. So that could be when it produces the strong to severe storms right in through this area here on Thursday. And then that pulls off the coast by Thursday evening. See that? Now watch. All across our southern region from Thursday night, this is now Friday morning, afternoon, evening. This is now Saturday morning, afternoon, evening. Let's go ahead and just get to Sunday morning, afternoon, evening. I mean, you saw that. That's several days in through here, getting all the way to Sunday evening that we just don't have much precipitation. We're watching this system right here, which really isn't technically a system. What's going on is there's high pressure here. There's high pressure here, all in this area. And in between, we're sandwiching the air. So in other words, the flow's coming clockwise in this direction, clockwise in that direction, and right into there is going to be the thermal boundary, and that is going to be on which we get some more showers and possibly some thunderstorms, but that's Sunday night. Now that boundary just slides a little bit here over parts of the mid-south to the mid-Atlantic on this high pressure cell pushing down Monday morning. But the next system I'm worried about here is May the 5th, okay, early in the morning on May the 5th, so that's Tuesday. You saw this emerge right here in parts of Texas. And then as it pulls through parts of the south, I'm concerned on the evening of May 5th for that storm system to then increase the chances for severe weather here initially, and as we work our way into the 6th, pull right again through this same area. Why I'm casting such doubt on this is just if you look up here at the time, we're way out in the forecast time period for looking at a single operational model. But there is some multi-model support in this. And I wrote down here at the bottom, the timing is not set. The GFS is a bit faster. It's got this coming out on the night of May 4th, but you can see the broad sector, the GFS, is trying to destabilize. That's what you're looking at. Here's a thunderstorm index for when that storm system comes through. And if I could tell you why we don't have this down, this right here, yeah, that's over parts of the Korean Peninsula. North of that, that's in China, around Japan, that the wave that we're talking about, well, it's here now. It's got to flow through the North Pacific. Look at that. Come all the way into the northwest, then dive down here into the south central plains before taking off and potentially causing a problem. So that's why, I mean, this is several days out. It's got to traverse the whole of the Pacific Ocean here, and it could modify, change, speed up, slow down, become deeper. But my point is that it's shown up for us a couple of times now, so we're going to keep a close eye on that. Again, this is out May 4th, 5th, 6th, that time period, okay? So I want you to be watching that with me. Notice this, that the operational European ensemble model, so that's where we run the model 51 times, isn't quite honed in on that single event. It does, however, keep the Gulf of Mexico open and therefore above average precipitation on the developing trough that's in here, but the subtropical flow that's going to support it. And you've seen me draw that multiple times throughout the last several months here. So it continues to see that that section of the United States is on the wetter side of things as we progress now into the second week of the month of May. What are the temperatures doing before we look even longer term than that? Well, this is just a look here at the National Digital Forecast Database highs on Tuesday. A lot of upper 70s, very low 80s with the real heat really pushing back here in parts of Texas, getting up toward the panhandles. As we play this one forward, this is what happens on Wednesday after that system plows through. So remember, the cooler air that does come behind it, you saw the circulation I showed you a few moments ago, does cool things off temporarily back into the 70s. But watch this. This is now Thursday's highs compared to normal. The southeast, cool day on Thursday behind that system, but look at the warm-up happening back in the midsection of the country here in the south central part of the country, such that by Friday we may see some triple-digit high, at least getting deep into the 90s over the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles. Meanwhile, the southeast is on the cooler side of things. Well, compared to normal, still 70s, which will be beautiful. Now, if we get to Saturday, widespread warmth pushing here. But then on Sunday into Monday, we're going to watch that boundary establish itself right in through here, which is what increased the precipitation chances there, while the south stayed relatively dry. Remember that? Okay, beyond that, let's stretch this out and go look at the 6 to 10 day time period. Good model agreement on the fact that that boundary is going to be sitting right in through this area, and that's going to be the boundary on which that next system will likely ride. But overall, our southern region is going to be seeing near average temperatures during the 6 to 10 day time period, with warmth tucked away on the western side of our southern region. Meanwhile, north of that, pretty cool for this time of year here into the month of May for the east and north central part of the United States. Doing a multi-model comparison for day 11 through 15, I noticed that in the overnight model runs, the GFS really plummeted the temperatures here, another couple of degrees, and that does encompass much of our southern region. But you can see that the European is a bit more progressive with the position of that trough, and while it's still on the cooler side of things, it brings that dividing line between where it's warm versus where it's cooler than average a little bit farther to the east here, encompassing most of Texas. So we're going to watch this play out. But remember, we're talking all the way out here. This is like May the 9th through the 13th. That's pretty far out in the forecast time period. I do want to show you this though. Take a look at the global temperatures up there in the map in the background. At the same time that day 11 through 15, the eastern half of North America is going over cold. Look at the colder pattern that's setting up across Brazil's growing areas. Now I checked into this and I did not see major frost risk at a low elevation where we're growing the crop for South America, but something I want you to keep an eye on. Now I'm still a little bit skeptical about the depth of this cold, and the reason why is, again, if the MJO does pop out in here over into phase 5, 6, and 7, that would be favorable for warming up that cold blob you see over there in the eastern part of the United States, and that does encompass our southern region. And also, we've now seen yet again, look inside where I'm circling right here, you can see the westerly wind burst here and the easterly wind burst that's meeting it, and that's going to make a lot of convection basically right in this area. And that is where I think we're just going to have to watch to see if the MJO is going to get over into that phase 7 and 8, which is in here, and therefore pump up some convection. That could really just reinforce the subtropical jet and therefore get that cooler pattern out. But there's a lot of things interacting here, and that's what I'm going to spend some time analyzing tomorrow in the long-range forecast. So I'm going to finish it by only looking out at your week 3. So this is going to be day 15 to 22. That gets us out to the 19th of May. That's pretty far out here. What we notice is that the latest European weeklies have been pretty consistent with keeping this area under the gun for more moisture transport out of the Gulf of Mexico, which is very warm. We've been talking about that. And also this is going to increase or keep up our chances for seeing those strong to severe thunderstorms moving through the area. But the temperature profile, but the temperature pattern across the United States, still favoring the warmth out west. You can see that here in the longer range model runs. But again, I'm calling this into question the most as we press forward. And that doesn't mean I'm better than the models, not by far, but it just means I've got some reason to think that maybe we've got this biased a bit too cold. But we'll keep an eye on it and report back to you. I do want to give you one last thing just to think about. I mentioned a moment ago how warm those ocean temperatures were here in the Gulf of Mexico. Well, a new report released by Penn State University, which is an outstanding atmospheric science graduate program and undergraduate program, some of their top faculty released their numbers for what they think the upcoming hurricane season is going to look like. And they are approaching almost 180 to 200% of normal activity. So we're just concerned early in the season about that. I want to keep you updated as we press on through the rest of spring and into summer. Okay? I hope you all have a good rest of your day. I'll look forward to talking to you again tomorrow with my long-range update. Thank you.